My son Tom and I were on our big vacation trip, and this morning we were ready to leave bright and early. Tom had seen to it that the car had a thorough checkup, and he wanted to do all the driving on his brand new driver's license. Today we'd be on mountain roads, and tomorrow across the desert, driving that calls for advanced skills and techniques. It could be dangerous for an untrained or careless driver. That's a good thing to do when you're going into a blind curve. And on a sharp downgrade, slip into a lower gear or range and let the engine help hold the car back. This way you don't have to ride the brakes. When you do need brakes, use a gentle on-off snubbing action. When we spotted a car with a flat parked on the shoulder of a curve, Tom decided to help. He pulled up behind her in the little parking space off the road. That other car might have rolled off the jack if Tom hadn't worked fast. We always carry 2 of these wood blocks. They're handy to have. We weren't in any big rush, so Tom helped change the tire, being careful not to jostle the car while removing the wheel. Later in the day, we hit patches of snow. Slush and water on the road call for an alert driver. Tom used the brakes gently, feather pedaling before he entered a curve. That's good driving, because braking during a turn may cause a skid. And it's good driving to reduce your speed, because on roads like this, it takes at least twice as long to stop your car. When we hit ice, Tom pulled over off the road to put on chains. Was this worth the trouble? Well, we saw what can happen without chains. Spinning the wheels just makes things worse. Dry brush or branches or a shovel full of gravel or ashes will usually solve the problem. But this driver was prepared. Burlap sacks will do the trick if you start gently. Of course, chains are best, but it helps to know these other tricks. Now, let her in easy, don't spin the wheels, and out she goes. But Tom and I felt safer with our chains giving us better traction on the slippery road. In less than an hour, we reached the pass. We were out of the snow, but a dense fog filled the canyon. As we dropped down into it, Tom turned on his lights and made sure they were on low beam. And he reduced his speed to make up for his reduced visibility. Suddenly, we were in it. Fog. 10 miles an hour could be too much speed here. To make matters worse, the fog began to condense on our windshield. Tom had played it smart when he had the wiper blades checked this morning. In fog, high beam headlights cause glare. That's why low beam or even parking lights are better. But your lights won't always pick up cars parked too close to the road. Or there may be pedestrians or stray livestock. Cars can pop out of nowhere on curves. So remember, keep a sharp lookout, turn on your low lights, and slow down to a crawl if necessary. A little later, the fog turned into rain. In places, mud had washed out over the road. It could be dangerous, rounding a curve or hitting an unexpected dip. Then a car appeared with its headlights on high beam. Tom flicked his lights, but the other driver wasn't on the ball. Tom knew how to focus his eyes away from the oncoming lights by looking at the right edge of the road, so the glare didn't bother him. The next car did it right. When our cars were still far apart, he dimmed his headlights. Think of it this way. When you first feel the other fellow's lights, dim yours. It's that simple. Danger signs are hard to see in fog or rain, but the dangers are just as great or greater. So common sense says, go slow, be ready. Eye strain and fatigue take the fun and the safety out of driving. So we decided to pull into town here and take a break. One hour and one good meal later, it was dark. The rain had stopped, but of course visibility was still low. The great majority of accidents occur at night, so Tom knew he had to stay on the alert. Headlights are a matter of courtesy and safety. Against a stream of oncoming cars, keep your lights on low beam for their protection and yours. When you're traveling on high beam, remember the rule. As soon as you feel the other car's lights, dim yours. He'll do the same if he's smart. The basic rule of night driving is never overdrive your lights. Watch. What do you see here? A guardrail and a sharp left turn. At high speed, you could be into something like this almost before you saw it. That's why you must always drive slow enough to be able to stop safely within the distance clearly visible ahead. Never overdrive your lights. Watch. Why are we stopping? Can you see? Look sharp. Watch the headlights of that other car. Pedestrians, bicycles, other cars, they all appear from nowhere at night. And they may swerve in front of you at any time. You must always be ready to stop on short notice. In the business district, Tom had to keep a sharp lookout to spot traffic lights and pedestrians who might decide to cross anywhere. As for us, we decided that this town was a good place to spend the night. By 8 o'clock the next morning, we were well out in the desert country, and it was hot. Here, visibility was excellent, so 55 seemed a reasonable speed. But our engine began to run hot. We were close to boiling. Tom reduced speed so our engine would run cooler, doing less work. Then something happened. It could happen anywhere. And whatever it is, dirt in your eye or a bug buzzing around inside the car, there's only one thing to do. The safe driver never keeps on driving when there's something distracting his attention. It's only a matter of a minute or so to repair the damage. But in that minute, you may save your life. Driving, even under the best conditions, demands your full attention. Did I say full attention? Look, a sunlight flash on a windshield. Tom had the right-of-way. He was on the through highway. You might figure he shouldn't have to worry. But what do you know about that other driver? Ever hear of the last clear chance to avoid an accident? Tom had it, and he took it. A clear intersection, a simple rule of right-of-way, yet our trip could have ended right there. Never depend on the other driver. Expect the worst. Drive defensively. Of course, on a long trip, it's a good idea to stop now and then and relax. During one of our breaks, Tom wrote a postcard to his mother. I never heard the last of it. Having a wonderful trip. I'm doing all the driving, so don't worry about us at all. Now look who's the expert driver in our family. But maybe it's true. I'm glad Tom learned to drive safely in regular driver education courses. That gives him a special kind of insurance. a life policy that will always help keep him out of accidents.